Like, I'm actively committing shirk, right? As a Trinitarian, that's a pretty big difference. And if the Islamic, if my understanding of the Islamic doctrine is correct, I will be a level lower than Iblis for attributing partners to Allah in hell.
Right. Well, first and foremost, the reason we touched upon commonalities here,
right,
is because sometimes people look at each other's faith as totally non-compatible, no commonalities,
right,
100% different, black and white.
Yes.
So I want to show to our fellow Canadians, people of other faiths, yes, there are differences.
Right.
And we should talk about that also with respect.
Yes.
But then there are many commonalities that people may not be aware of.
Right. Okay.
So that itself will bind us together as humans and neighbors.
Okay.
And people of faith. Maybe
right,
different faith, but at least people of faith.
Yes.
We are not atheists. We are not idol worshippers.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So at least we have so many things in common.
Right.
So that itself is going to bring people together, and then with respect we can speak about differences.
Sure.
But at least on the commonalities, we can start many conversations, many good projects for humanity.
Right.
That was the reason.
Okay. I respect that, and I can imagine.
Do you agree with that? I mean, that's the reason for the commonalities.
Yeah, and that would, I'd imagine that would, because there is a lot of, at least I can speak for myself in Christian circles, there's a lot of misunderstandings about Islam and really any other religion, right? And then because of that, there's a lot of discrimination.
Yeah.
So I think
there we go. That
touching on the
that,
commonalities
yes.
that's fair.
Were you aware that the word Allah is there in the Bible?
I figured, I know that Christians in other countries call God Allah, but I didn't know that there was a specific. It makes sense because there's an Arabic translation, but that was neat. And then Genesis 1:1, of course, too.
Genesis 1:1.
That was cool.
There are 2,800 times at least in the Old Testament the word Allah occurs.
Yeah.
And the Jews and the Christians whose native tongue is Arabic, obviously they read the Arabic Bible. When they pray to God, they use the word Allah. When they pray to God, when they write prose and poetry, they use the word Allah. So for them, Allah is God.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and that is a worthy similarity to draw attention to.
Yes, of course.
I agree.
So that's important. And you were saying something about shirk.
Yes. Yeah. It's the sin of attributing partners to Allah, right? Is that would that be a proper conception of what the sin of shirk is?
What shirk is, yeah.
Yes.
So shirk is not just saying there is some other God besides God, or attributing the attribute, or giving attributes of God to someone other than God,
right,
or instead of God.
Yes.
So both are shirk. Yes.
Right. Okay.
But shirk is not only the way that Islam defines. Even if you look into the first commandment, which is in Exodus chapter 20, verse number 3.
Right.
And Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse number 6 and onwards.
The Shema.
Even Moses defined shirk, saying that you should not take any other God besides me.
Right.
That means he's also saying that do not give attributes of God to anyone else.
Right.
So it is not only the definition of Muslims or in the Quran, even in the Bible and Moses and all the prophets, according to them, if you're attaching partners, they would say, if they were here, they would say, Matthew, you're committing shirk, based upon God's guidance.
Okay.
From the Bible, Old New Testament and the Quran, the triune concept is a shirk.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to be a bit blunt like that. But
No. I
what is
appreciate
right and
you
what
being,
is right.
Yes, precisely. And I would think it would be disingenuous for you not to be blunt, right? Because I would be blunt as well. It's what I believe is true. And obviously we would have different conceptions of the Old Testament and monotheism and all of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
How familiar are you with the doctrine that we Christians call the hypostatic union?
Define more so we all know it better.
Yeah. So the hypostatic union being the union of the two natures, the human nature and the divine nature, within the one person of Jesus Christ, the eternal second person of the Trinity.
I'm aware of the doctrine. So
Okay.
what about the doctrine, Matthew?
So why would you say that that's an accretion, something that developed over time as opposed to something being straight out of the Bible? When we have passages like Philippians 2 and John 17, Revelation 1, and those are just a few of the many, right? That talk about Jesus also being the first and the last, the Alpha and Omega, and him being pre-existent to his habitation on earth as a human person.
So what's the question?
So why would you, given those, I guess, you know what, I'll refine the question because there are a few different assumptions in there. What do you make of those texts that say that Jesus was pre-existent? That the second person was pre-existent?
We agree that Jesus was pre-existence before his birth.
Right.
So were you and her and all of us. Nothing special there.
Like the soul.
Yeah, because pre-existence does not mean divinity.
Right.
Even Shaitan, Satan pre-existed, right? Angels pre-existed before the creation of humans.
Right.
So existing for a long time before the world was created does not make a person divine or
Sure.
son of God or
Right.
part of the Trinity or something special.
Right.
Every human pre-existed to begin with. Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to go back to, I forget where it is in Revelation 1, and it's certainly not the only place. The Apostle John claims, at least, to receive a vision from Jesus Christ, and he says that he is the first and the last. Would you attribute that to textual corruption? Or would you explain that in a way that doesn't suppose that Jesus is deific?
Sure. So first and foremost, in the book of Revelation, which is the last book,
Yes.
there are two places in which apparently the Bible is saying, or John is saying in the vision, that Jesus says that I'm the first and the last.
Yes. Yeah.
Fine. There are two places. Okay. So one of the places, if you look into the NIV, and maybe also RSV, I didn't check in RSV, but at least in NIV it says in the footnote that the earliest manuscripts does not have the phrase the first and the last. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So if someone added in the later manuscripts about Jesus that he's the first and the last, and we know for sure they did, what is the guarantee that they have not also added the other place? Now it takes away the credibility of the book of Revelation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how can I trust if someone adds, like, you know, if you have two plates here, or two, let's do like this, right? Suppose if you're thirsty and you have two bottles of water, if when I say to you, that, you know, both are good, and but however, in this bottle, I added like 1 drop of poison, for example, right?
Sure.
It's only, you know, negligible 0.001%.
Right.
The rest of it is pure.
Sure.
This is 100% unopened. Obviously, as a human, you will not pick this.
Right.
Because now the credibility is gone, why take a chance?
Sure.
This is the Quran, this is the Bible.
Sure. I understand your line of logic. That's fair.
But I mean, how can you risk your life in eternity on a book which is less than 100% when you have a book which is 100%? Because any passage that you may be thinking, you know what, this passage is good, our theology is built on the passage, but since we know that other places people have added and taken away verses, now this also becomes, you know, we are not sure, maybe this is also added, maybe not. It always creates a doubts in our mind.
Okay. I understand your reasoning again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it logical, you know.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, just because the one verse, and for the sake of argument, let's say it was added, just because that one verse in Revelation was added, doesn't mean that the rest of the book of Revelation does not teach the divinity of Christ, right? You have John bowing down to Jesus and Jesus not telling him to get up. John worshiping Christ, all of these things, right? And that's just the book of Revelation alone. And we could get into that, but there's, for the sake of argument, let's say it was gone, right? It doesn't necessarily refute the idea that Jesus is a deific figure in the book of Revelation. Would you say?
Two things. First and foremost, the book of Revelation is a dream.
Okay.
I have In my hotel, I had some few dreams. Those dreams are not confirmation of my faith or any faith.
Right.
Dreams are subjective. Many things can happen in dream.
Sure.
I don't trust my dreams.
Right.
Okay? Forget about other people's dreams. Number one. Number two, in case if someone bowed down to Jesus, bowing down to anyone can be for many reasons. It can be for worship as a deity. It can be for respect. It can be for culture.
Right.
It can be to elders. It can be in martial arts. So many things, right? People bow down.
Sure.
Doesn't have to be in worship, because the word in Greek is prokunios.
Okay.
In Greek, okay?
Right.
And that word, if you look into the strong concordance, it means, crouching together just to pay homage.
Right.
And people did that all over the Bible. To Jesus and Thomas and Peter and, Abraham and so many people, they were bowed down to
Right.
as a form of respect.
Right. Okay.
So that itself does not signify when somebody bows down, John or anyone, to Jesus, it is not necessary for worship.
Sure.
Angels were supposed to bow down to Adam according to Islam's theology.
Yes.
When Adam was created,
Yeah.
to show respect, but not to take Adam as divine.
Right. And Iblis
So-
did not do that, right? That's
was
how
that?
Iblis did not bow down to Adam. That's
Iblis
how
did not.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So again, bowing down is not a sign of anyone's divinity. That's the point.
Sure.
From
Okay.
the Bible,
Fair
from
enough.
the Quran, from the culture, even in this culture right now too. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.